Hey, this is Esmeralda Rubio from Rubio Accounting Firm. So I just wanted to share some information for our business owners, either if you're new to business or if you've already been in business for a while. I'm going to talk about sales tax. There is a sales tax handbook and it's 192 pages long. And a lot of business owners, they're not very familiar with sales tax or what services need to be charging sales tax on. So there's a lot of different services that are taxable. I'm just gonna cover a few and kind of go in depth with a couple of few. And just a reason that I'm doing this is, just this last weekend, I went to Conway and they used to have like a boba tea restaurant or like a place that they would sell boba tea. And I asked one of my friends, "Hey, we should go over there? I haven't been there before." She's like, "Oh, well, there was a sign last time that I went on the door that said that it was closed down since they didn't pay their sales tax." So it's really sad to see that happening. That places have to close down because when there is a sales tax audit, um, they'll go back. You know, since you opened, they'll go back 2 or 3 years worth. And if you weren't aware that you had to charge sales tax, it's still not an excuse. They'll still make you pay it out of your own pocket. And then I've also seen situations where there'll be a sales tax audit and now they owe a lot of money and they have this debt that they have to pay back and they're kind of struggling with their business because of the sales tax debt that could have been avoided if from the very beginning either you research it or hire an accountant that can give you more in-depth detail on based on the services that you're providing. Is it are you supposed to charge sales tax or not? So here's a very interesting one. It's lawn care and landscaping. So if you have a lawn care business, so I'm pulling the page from the sales tax handbook. So lawn care for non-residential property means like if you're doing lawn care for commercial businesses, for that part is taxable. If you're doing lawn care for residential, which is just your individual single family homes, that's not taxable. So it is the business owner has the burden of proof to be able to show, hey, this was a residential, these are homes that I'm servicing, or I only did like one commercial property. Well, if you don't have your invoices in order, um, you don't have your burden of proof. So the sales tax could go in there and say, well, since you weren't keeping invoices, you weren't keeping addresses of where you were doing lawn care, they can go back and say, okay, well, based on your, and, one of the things that people don't know is the sales tax department, the Arkansas sales tax department has full access to your tax returns. So that's how they're able to find people like businesses to audit, because when you do your tax return, it asks, if you have a business, what type of business is it? And that's where you can put, lawn care, landscaping, construction. So they'll go off of, what you reported on your tax return, and they do it on purpose. They'll go back, a couple of years worth, and then look and see if you have a sales tax account open. So if you're on that category that, that says lawn care and landscaping, they're looking to see if you have a sales tax account open. So the first red flag that they'll see is there's no sales tax open. So then they can dig a little bit further. You're more likely to get audited because you have no sales tax account. So if you have a lawn care business, it's really essential for you to have good invoicing system going on where you can put in there, this is put in the address. So you have proof that, there's a residential address. And then if you are doing commercial, like if you're doing, lawn care for Burger King, for commercial space, make sure that you are charging the sales tax to the client and paying that on a monthly basis to the sales tax department. They do define, I've had, people ask me, what about, a duplex? Is that residential or is that commercial? So there is a definition in here, and it does explain that apartment buildings and duplexes are considered non-residential property, meaning that it's considered basically kind of commercial. So If you're doing for, rental properties, you are supposed to charge sales tax on that. So that's just the lawn care part. There is another part that is landscaping. So landscaping, so you can see how it can get very complicated very easily, because under landscaping it says landscaping services for both residential and non-residential property are required to charge sales tax. So the next step is, okay, what is the definition of landscaping compared to lawn care? So what services are you supposed to charge sales tax, no matter what the client is? So it does give you like definitions in it. For example, landscaping here means the installation, preservation, enhancement of ground covering by planting trees, bushes, shrubbery, grass, flowers, or other type of decorating plants. So it also includes sodding, seeding, planting, as well as installing items such as landscaping timbers, edgers, planters, or similar items. So basically, anything that's not just cutting the grass. If you're adding new items to shrubs, flowers, if you're adding decorating items, that part is taxable. So what I recommend is when you're doing that invoicing, let's say it's a residential customer, break down the invoice and say, okay, um, you know, this is for lawn care on the residential property. It was, $30. And then separate the landscaping and say, okay, for landscaping, it was, $100 to add, these rocks and add these flowers, just as an example. Because if you don't separate out, you have one part that's not taxable, which is the residential lawn care, but then you have the landscaping that is taxable. So you'll have to separate out to be able to charge the sales tax on the landscaping part. If you don't, then if you do get an audit and you don't have it broken down and it just says, oh, lawn care, landscaping, and it was a total of $500. Well, then sales tax will make you pay the sales tax on the full $500 because you didn't break it down. So that's just why it's necessary to consult like an accountant where you're starting your business, because they can help you know how to break down your invoices and then, be able to point out which are the taxable services. Also, this Arkansas sales tax handbook is, out there available for free, PDF form. One of the things as business owners, I think we got to know our business really well to avoid problems in the future. So that's just covering lawn care and landscaping. I have another example, which is janitorial cleaning, or it just says cleaning. So this one is like if you have a business that is housekeeping, janitorial work is sales taxable. So you do have to charge taxes if you're cleaning houses. So what it says in here is anything that's service cleaning um, and of any building, dwelling, or other structure, removing any dirt, impurity, or impurities. So if you're cleaning houses, you do have to charge sales tax. Now, there is an exception to a part of it. It says the service of cleaning streets, sidewalks, or driveways, or other areas that are not part of the building is not taxable. So you can kind of see how it gets a little bit complicated, but so if you're doing janitorial or cleaning service inside the home, you will have to charge sales tax. If you're just offering services, cleaning, pressure washing the sidewalks, pressure washing the driveway of the house, that part is not taxable. But then there is another part of it too, that if you are pressure washing parking lots, then that is taxable. So that's how it can get very complicated, and that's why it's very necessary to look up the actual rules that are for each type of services, because there are a lot of exemptions and to it. Another one that I've seen a couple of construction audits, and normally a lot of the construction services are not taxable, but there is certain type of services, for example, flooring. Installation is taxable. installing any electrical appliances is taxable. So like if you have a construction company, normally you don't think about sales tax, but if you do flooring, you have to charge sales tax. If you are doing installing any electrical appliances like a water heater, they'll consider that as an electrical appliance, then you do have to charge sales tax. Now there is an exemption for initial installation, which means if it's the very first time that you're installing flooring, like in a new construction, then you don't have to charge sales tax on the flooring. But if it's like you're doing a remodel and then they're repairing the flooring or replacing the flooring, then it is taxable. So it's just very interesting how there's so many rules regarding sales tax. I do have another example, like for example, um, air conditioning. Normally, that is a taxable service, but there is an exemption if it's new construction or initial installation, then that wouldn't be taxable. The list just keeps going on what services are taxable. Just some that I've seen that a lot of people don't know about is photography. That is a taxable service. Doing photos, photo editing is taxable services. So maybe later on I might do another little information about specific type of industries, but right now I just covered a little bit on the cleaning part and like the lawn care and landscaping and a little bit about construction. But just wanted to let our business owners know that these rules exist and they're if you get audited, it is something that you wish you knew at the beginning. So just wanted to share that information with the public. Thank you.